As Ali said, my name is Ray Kampa. I have a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from North Dakota State University. I've been practicing engineering for about 30 years now. I am what is called a professional engineer, which means I can put my name on drawings to help get stuff built. That also comes with a liability attached with that, but also there's rewards to that. Typical starting salaries for engineers, it's been a long time since I've been looking at entry-level engineering, but I believe for mechanical engineers they start at about $50,000 a year and go up from there. So that's approximately where they come from, or where they are. I'm currently working for Wink Associates. Wink is a consulting engineering firm that they started back in, I believe, about 84. With Norm Wink, who is, he is a civil engineer. They do a lot of wastewater. They do a lot of municipalities and that type of work. And then back about 10 years ago, they started an industrial group. I am part of that industrial group. And what we do, we build plants. So someone wants to make canola oil. Well, how do you make canola oil? There's a whole process that goes along with that. So what our job is to lay that out, size all the equipment, make sure everything flows right, make sure we got instrumentation in the right spot, and then be there and make sure that everything goes well when they start it up. One of the other projects I was involved with, as you can't see it here well here, but this is a steam plant up in Minnesota. What they do is they burn garbage out there, and they take hot gas, which is between 1,700 and 2,000 degrees, and it comes through, oh, you can't, right through here into this boiler here, which makes the steam. The steam goes back out to users. And then because it's garbage, you have a lot of different impurities in it, which then goes through this piece of equipment here, which basically cleans up. It adds lime and carbon to it and some water to help suck up all those impurities. And then finally it goes out the stack here. This is the actual model we use to get this plant built. So if I come over here, whoa, yep. You can see by going down into it, all the different things that went along with all this. And so a lot of this stuff you see here, I had a design. This piece of pipe here, it's taking air off there and going back to the combustor to help the combustion process. So you know, how much air you need? Well, usually you get some help on figuring that out, or you can figure that out with some mass balances and stuff. And you size that for certain properties, for certain pressure drops. You size fans. This is a steam pipe coming out of the boiler. So you do all that type of sizing to make sure that everything gets built and is properly sized for a safe and efficient plant operation. A typical day for me, truthfully, I don't do a lot of this drawing. This is all 3D drawing. I'm not that talented. I'm being in the position where I am with 25 to 30 years experience. I do a lot of meetings. So I would say doing engineering versus meeting with clients to figure out what they need, or meeting with people who are working for me to make sure that they've got all their projects in a row and get all their questions answered. I'm probably doing about 40% engineering and 60% management. So what do I do for engineering? Well, you're sizing pumps, you're sizing piping, you're looking at what does the owner need to do a certain project. You do different systems in the plant. You do compressed air, you do steam, you do cooling tower water. The HVAC, the heating and ventilation system you see in here, I've done some of that type of work. So it's a very wide variety. And I like consulting because of the fact that about every 6 months, you got a new project rolling down the line on you too. Different projects, different parameters, different things to look at. That's about all I have.
Well, since he has to leave so soon, if anybody has any questions score, please raise your hand. Every question asked gets you a ticket for the prize drawing. So
I'll stick around for about another 20 minutes, so if anyone has some questions in between time, just feel free. What's that?
Works they have been doing ever since you became an engineer.
Ooh, something about, once you come this way, it's like an...
What are some examples of what you have been working on ever since you became an engineer?
Okay. When I first became an engineer, I actually did structural engineering. I worked in a shipyard. We refueled nuclear ships. So I did structures and that type of thing to hold up pieces of equipment. From there, I went to the consultant field. I worked some jobs for Texaco. We built loading racks to, the bulk tanks. So from the terminals, they actually they pump them into trucks and deliver that to the service stations. Another project I worked on was out in Seattle area. I lived out there for 10 years. We worked on the ships would come in, they'd have to pump off their bilges. Well, you need to treat that water to get the solids off the bottom and take any of the hydrocarbons that floated off the top. So we designed a system to do that. When I moved back here, the first job I had, I worked for what's now ADM. Back then it was Minnesota Corn Processors out in Marshall, Minnesota. I worked on a high fructose corn syrup plant. I also did quite a few utilities out there. What else? I did some work for Kraft. I helped expand a pizza plant. So you can see the types of jobs I get involved with, they can be all over the map. And there's lots of different things to work on there. So.
What inspired you to be an engineer?
What inspired me to be an engineer? When I was a senior, they wanted us to do a project on, it was a paper for my English class. And so I went and looked at nuclear power. And I always thought I wanted to be a nuclear engineer. And I started looking at that. And after I got through writing my paper and did a little more research, I went, I don't want to be a nuclear engineer. So mechanical engineering. Only because I couldn't handle the chemistry. I really wanted to be a chemical engineer.
For certain parts of, when you was trying for certain parts of the engineering jobs, did you try to build like models of roller coasters?
I've never had to work on a roller coaster, and that'd be some of it. That would be a structural engineer would be involved with that also. But I have been involved with some pipe racks. Can be kind of like a roller coaster, although they shouldn't be.
What are the qualities that you feel would lead someone into that field?
Qualities for being an engineer. One that I'm still trying to master is attention to detail. To go in and do a big plant is easy to look at all the big stuff, but you would not believe how many little itty things that you got to remember to do, otherwise the plant doesn't run. There's got to be a steam trap every time you change a direction. There's got to be, make sure you put, reduced backflow preventers in your water lines coming in. And you can learn that through two different ways, either talking with somebody and understanding it and remembering it, or the School of Hard Knocks. And unfortunately, I've learned a lot through the School of Hard Knocks.
You need to have a lot of mechanical aptitude?
I have no mechanical aptitude whatsoever. I don't even change my oil in my car. Now, some areas you do. There are some engineers that do like a sheet metal layout for the auto industry and that type of stuff. There you have to have a lot more mechanical aptitude to be able to see. They give you these tests that, what does this fold up to be? And I went and looked at it and I would go, I have no idea. So there is some engineering, mechanical engineering aspects that you really do need to have that aptitude a little bit more.
What are some of the classes you had to take to become an engineer?
Classes to become an engineer. Physics, calculus-based physics, calculus. And from there was a lot of thermodynamics. When I was at NDSU, they had what was called a power plant option. So it was a lot of thermodynamics. You were basically anything that they had to do with that. Plus, I took a lot of electrical engineering courses. This lady here. What's that?
How long does it usually take you to complete a project?
A project, this project that I'm working on here, we started about a year and a half ago, and so it's finally getting started up now. So depending on the size, this project was approximately $16 million. The projects can range anywhere from, I did one that was about $50,000 up to the one out in Marshall was above $100 million. So it just depends, and the one out in Marshall took probably 4 years to complete.
So do you do more like hands-on stuff or computer software stuff?
Hands-on stuff or computer software stuff? Yeah, a lot of it's computer. No, I take that back. A lot of the calculations I do with spreadsheets. So there's once you get through engineering, you'll understand there's certain formulas you can take and you apply them, and so it's a matter of just setting up your spreadsheets and understanding how that works. So I don't use a lot of. This is software which is very specialized. I use AutoCAD myself, which is a drawing tool, which is very helpful for me. So otherwise, I don't use much software. There is specialized software, like if you're doing a building like this, there are companies out there that produce software so you can do the heat loss through here and how much air you need in each room. So there are things that help you out with that type of thing.
What's your favorite part about the job?
My favorite part about the job is actually it's the pre-planning phases. It's looking at a project and then coming up with, okay, the client wants to do this, and he's got this piece of land, or he's got this building. How am I going to fit that in here? This project was one like that, where if I had my druthers, this building would have been 20 feet bigger in both directions. But they didn't have the room or the money to do that, and so you got to make it fit in the space you got, and that's fun part.
Okay, we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Okay.
That's a lot of questions. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, thank you very much, Ray. All right, our next speaker is going to be Cora, and she's a chemical engineer. So I'll let her get hooked up to the lapel really quick.
It's complicated.